A man dies in a no-knock gun confiscation. Democrats openly support terrorism in Chicago. And a man gets an atomic wedgie on a fence post. This is The Loaded Mic, and I'm Dan Was. The anti-gunners in New York State are at it again with a new anti-gun bill to restrict recreational firearm activities and make it impossible for gun ranges to exist. The new New York State Senate bill, S8461, also known as the Sporting Range Good Neighbor Act, is created to implement restrictions on existing gun ranges. Under the guise of being environmentally friendly and using lead bullets as the culprit. Now, one of the new restrictions is a requirement that every skeet shooting range shall be a minimum of 600 yards by 300 yards, and any shooting range which is unable to comply with this requirement must construct and maintain appropriate backstops to prevent lead migration outside the designated skeet area. Now, such backstops shall be constructed of material that effectively captures bullets and shall be covered by a roof to prevent precipitation from eroding such backstops. The bill gives no height specifications or suggestions for backstops, leaving this requirement extremely vague in definition. With the trajectory of skeet shooting ammo travel, the elimination of this requirement appears to give the state of New York the ability to require backstops be an unachievable height. How high would skeet shooting backstops need to be? Is the state of New York setting gun ranges up for failure by leaving this requirement out and requiring ranges to comply with impossible standards? Although most skeet loads will drop within 150 yards, it's likely that New York State will dispute ballistic facts later to deem backstops insufficient and give gun ranges another round of hoops to jump through. That is, the ranges that survive this attack. Failure to comply with these potentially impossible demands will result in the shooting range civil penalty up to $1,000 a day for a first violation and $2,500 a day for a second violation. Bill S8461 is being pushed under the guise of environmental stewardship and protecting wildlife. Yet, the lawmakers responsible for the bill have yet to produce any documentation of wildlife ever being endangered by lead ammunition. Gun owners have other concerns, including they'd have to buy new surrounding land if even possible. Many gun ranges would never be able to meet the unreasonable requirements, and the law has the potential to negatively impact local businesses that supply shooting equipment, as some clubs may have to close because they can't afford to abide by the new regulations. So, is the goal of the New York gun grabbers to shut down all gun ranges in the Empire State? Discourage young sport shooters in the hopes of raising future generations as non-gun owners? Financially bankrupt the industry? Or all of the above? We're going to talk about this and many other things with, he's always ready for an online debate with the twisted left, Johnchiara.
Hello, Dan.
And he's about as cuddly as a rabid porcupine, anthonydeso.
Wow.
You just got to rub them the right way. That's all. Don't rub against the
Fat
grain.
jokes. Yeah.
That wasn't even a fat joke.
Porcupines are pretty chubby.
So, what do you think?
I think Hochul's a scumbag.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'm just trying to, when you're describing what they're recommending or requiring, and you're trying to visualize that, and it's like, the heck's that look like? Thunderdome? Like, what is that?
How do you exactly?
I would just make it out of like a shiny chrome. So when the airplanes fly by, they get hit in the face when the sun's shining.
So, well, like,
Aren't you supposed to have facts before you put out a bill? Like animal? What? Squirrels and chipmunks? Who cares?
well, they're specifically
Who
saying that you need
cares?
backstops for the skeet ranges, okay? And you know how you shoot skeet.
yeah, it's up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on how
So-
how bad you are, it could go up way up. You
How
know.
far does it go?
Well, like I said, they'll typically drop within 150 yards, and they want 600-yard range with you standing in the middle. So you're given 300 yards, it looks like. But they don't give any specifications on the size of the backstop.
But who has 6 football fields worth of land around?
That's enough. Yeah.
That's the width. The length is 3 times.
300 yards
1,800
times.
the other way, right?
No.
1,800 feet the other way.
Well,
like half a mile almost.
Yeah, 300 yards by 600 yards.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So what's going to happen to the ranges that they just don't have the land? You just can't expand. You can't. Well, there's neighborhoods. There's whatever out there. You can't just. And the land cannot contain any wetlands. So anything deemed wetland, that disqualifies the space.
So you can't expand into a wetland if you're next to
you
it.
can't. Right, you can't use wetlands as part of your 600 by 300 yards.
That's a little limiting too.
A little limiting, and then so obviously a lot of ranges aren't going to be able to comply with that, so they're going to have to go with the backstop thing. But they don't give the specifications on how high the backstops need to be. And you're skeet shooting. So, I mean, theoretically, your backstop would have to be, I don't know,
300-400 feet.
300-400.
What neighbor's
Godzilla size.
what neighbor's gonna want that?
You could rent out the top and put cell tone.
Oh, I know what they can do. They can build a giant wall with Hochul's face on it. That's what the backdrop can be. That mug.
So it's extremely aggravating. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I talked to one of our New York senators, Republican, one of the very few Republicans, and he said that it's got support. It's got a sponsor in the House and not the Senate, or vice versa. He said once it's got a sponsor in both, then that's when they start to get a little more concerned. So that's where we're at. New York, they're trying to shut everything down. But we're fighting. So, if it gets to that point, I hope GOA or one of the other gun groups will come forward and start.
I wonder where she's going to get her fake animal facts.
How are they going to collect those?
I think the DEC is going to flood paperwork to make it look like there's something going on.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think we should. Any people should be calling the sponsor of this bill and saying, okay.
Show me facts.
Show testing, right?
Right.
Show me the facts.
Where's the testing? How many animals have died because of lead bullets? And also, what engineering firm drew the plans and determined this 600
What are we
yards?
talking about here?
Your uncle.
Like really, deer, chipmunks, squirrel, who cares?
Yeah.
Are we killing endangered species? Because do we have any?
They don't have
around
any
here?
proof of anything.
What do we have that's endangered?
Don't
around
be
here?
mean, Anthony.
I'm not trying to be serious. What do we have here that's endangered?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why we need to see the numbers, right? First.
So how can Dirtbag Hochul come up with something and say, I'm going to do this without any facts?
Because that's what they do. They hypothesize this stuff. They dream it up, and then they have a supermajority Democrat in the House and Senate in New York. New York State is supermajority Democrat. And they just passed this stuff.
Well, you remember that idiot Hochul when she said she didn't need facts for
she didn't need numbers.
The gun numbers. She didn't need numbers. I don't need numbers.
I don't need numbers.
Well,
That's like ordering a car without tires. I don't need it. Just send it over. I'll drive it. I'll get there.
I'll get there. So I
Don't
don't
worry
need
about it.
tires.
I don't need facts. I don't need tires.
Well, it's kind of the same pattern as they use with Trump, right? We'll just figure out charge him with a bunch of stuff and see what happens afterwards, instead of having an actual case and then saying, oh, look, you did this bad.
Like the hush money case. What a joke.
Oh, it's all a joke.
Yeah, and they're doing jury this week and trying
Talk
to.
about him doing time if he gets convicted. Where's he going to go? Where? You'll be the first morons to put a president in prison. How are you going to do that?
If he goes to jail for one day, he'll win automatically, I think.
But they don't even understand that they're hurting themselves by doing what they're doing.
They're hurting everything. They're hurting the system. That's the problem.
Like we got Trump who shows up at Chick-fil-A, right, and pays for everybody's meals and talks to the black community and treats them respectfully.
And you got stupid
while
Joe.
Joe Biden goes to the house with fried chicken and watermelon.
He doesn't get
Is
it.
that where we're at? And that's not racist. If Joe Biden showed up to your house with watermelon and fried chicken and sat down and gave that to you, would you not be disrespected? Would you not be offended?
What you're saying is true, but more importantly than that, it's just stupid.
Okay, but
if he was smart, he wouldn't have done that. So not only is he probably a racist, but he's definitely not smart. So
But just imagine if Trump went to black person's house and knocked on the door and said, "Bro, I got watermelon and chicken for you. I need your vote."
Yeah.
How do you think that's gonna go?
That would not go well.
How would, really, John?
We
How
should
would
do a
that
spoof.
go?
Crowder should do a spoof of that.
Somebody should do. I mean, seriously, how would people react to that?
You want to play Joe?
Joe Biden did it. We didn't hear any backlash about it.
Nope.
All right. That's terrible.
You're right.
Stupid.
You're right.
Not one word was said about that old, decrepit dirtbag going into a black family's house and throwing chicken and watermelon on the table.
Do we have video of that, Danny?
I didn't even know. I didn't even know until I'm here.
You didn't know he did that?
No, I didn't know he did that. No.
Look it up.
Oh, my
And that
God.
family sat there with him and ate food with him. He didn't eat the chicken. He brought something else for himself. So who does that?
Yeah.
Egg salad.
You need votes that
He's
bad?
race baiting, just scoundrel. He's
Stupid.
just
Why
awful.
would
He's
you do
awful.
that?
He's awful.
And you know, then you got the gay community believing that Joe Biden really cares about him because he doesn't. Because if you
care.
do some research, you'll go back to 2008 when he said that him and Obama do not agree with gay marriage.
yeah.
Right.
But now
Absolutely.
in 2024, you agree with it?
They didn't agree with illegal migration either. They didn't agree with.
They
none
were
of
all over the migration.
Yeah.
This is how stupid the left-wing nut jobs are. They believe the garbage that comes out of their mouth.
Anything
It's pandering.
right, anything that's said, they believe it.
Just
They-
like
so
when gas
you can
prices
switch
come
them
down and food prices come down before November 2024, they're all going to believe that Joe cares about them.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen if Joe wins again? You're going to be poor again.
Mayonnaise is expensive.
All right, we got a lot of stuff to get to.
I'm sorry, ranting.
No, that's all right. It's all right. But let's get to one of our sponsors real quick. This device right over my shoulder is called the Cali Key, and it removes your AR from the definition of assault weapon. Now, when they create the so-called assault weapon ban list, they're created and they exclude manually operated bolt-action firearms. Now, just by dropping this Cali Key into your direct impingement AR in place of your semi-automatic BCG, you will have a bolt-action rifle that falls outside the definition of assault weapon. You don't need to do anything else. So give the Cali Key a look, because with it, you could retain all your rifle's features, avoid registration complications, revive your black rifle sales if you're an FFL, regain the ability to do private party transfers, legally transport across hostile jurisdictions, hunt with your AR in areas like Pennsylvania, enhance long-range precision and quieter suppressed shooting. Cali Key has state-specific expert attorney opinions on their website and support grassroots Second Amendment organizations with its sales. Cali Key's mission is to empower customers and claw back our civil liberties. So go to calikey.com and use the discount code LOADED. That's calikey.com, discount code LOADED. All right, let's move on. Okay, I wanted to do a woke patrol today. We got a woke patrol.
Woke Patrol.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
All right, so as the transsexual fad becomes more insane, it's important to keep up with the ridiculousness. Now, maybe they're not getting the attention and respect they hope for, so they keep raising the bar with new terminology in the hopes of being taken seriously. I don't think it's working, and it may just push these weirdos back to the carnivals where they belong. Watch this.
Identify as what?
Hi there. I'm Cody. Pronouns em, airs, or zem, zers, or really any neo-pronouns that aren't z, her, hers. I come from the world of Instagram, where I had decided at one point that I was going to microvlog my gender transition. I am a white, transmasculine, femme, non-binary, temporarily mostly able-bodied, neurodivergent, obsessive-compulsive, chronically ill, culturally Jewish, Unitarian Universalist, non-monogamous, demi-low romantic, gray demi-bisexual, survivor of acute and complex trauma, millennial, and cat parent in mental health recovery.
That's a long way to say gay. Okay, like, honest question. How does someone get this brainwashed?
That's a good question. I mean,
That girl needs she needs
she needs
a
help.
poop ton, because I can't say the other word. of medication.
See, we need a segment where we go to these people's houses and let Anthony knock on the door.
Excuse me, I hear you're a. I don't even know what what any of that
We're
stuff
from the
was.
Loaded Mike,
I
and
hear
we're
you're
here to
a
help.
I hear you're a bunch of crap, and I don't know what the hell you just said, little kid.
I hear you got a mental disorder and you need help. Oh my God! All right.
What? I'm sorry. How can you be a parent and see your stupid kid on doing that? Is it just for attention? Because you got to think about it.
I think it's a fad. I'm really thinking that.
I think it's all about
being
getting
a
clicks and attention.
Well,
Yeah.
it is attention, but because it's different than it was 20 years ago. You couldn't do that and have anybody hear you. Now you can put a clip up and millions of people can hear you with your
and cheer you on.
big time. It's like the ultimate shallow social media way of looking at the world. And it's just like, if you can float along on that, I guess it's probably fun, right? Because you don't have to worry about anything or think about anything. Oh, that's right. Let's go with this.
Imagine hiring that nut job.
I don't know
Who are
what-
you? I'm a cat pet falling off the cliff, monkey flipping, goosebump, chilling monkey. You know, it's like, what the hell are we talking about? What are you talking about? What's
wouldn't
your
hire-
name, stupid?
I wouldn't hire her just for the haircut.
Well, speaking of far left and cheering people on,
Can you repeat that?
Never.
Okay.
speaking
I don't
of
think she can either.
speaking of far lefties cheering things on, the far left activists in Chicago filmed cheering Iran's major attack on Israel. Far left anti-Israel activists in Chicago demanding President Joe Biden and U.S. aid to Israel cheered and applauded a massive attack of hundreds of drones and missiles by the Islamic Republic of Iran on the Jewish state, which ultimately failed but had initially posed a severe threat to residents throughout Israel. Now, we all know by now that Israel's been attacked by Iran. There were about, 300 initial drone attacks. 99% were deflected or shot down. But remember, just like you saw this lunatic lefty tranny kid, there are radical lefties living right in our country cheering on and supporting Iran,
A terrorist country.
a terrorist country, the leading terrorist country. At a Chicago conference on Saturday of the March on the Democratic National Convention 2024, coalition of far-left groups planning to protest the DNC in August to demand an end to U.S. And Israel attendees, or aid rather. Many were masked, expressed support for Iran's missile and drone attack on Israel. So they're supporting the attack. The gathering, which included dozens of pro-Palestinian activists, also saw commitments to oppose U.S. support for Israel and featured chants and slogans advocating for Palestinian liberation and resistance against U.S. policies in the region. So I know we got a video here, don't we? We got a photo. Can we see that? So we do have a video coming out. Okay, so here is a video of the left-wing communists in Chicago chanting "Hands off Iran," or Iran, or however you say it. The question I had, shouldn't we do something about these Democrats in America who are supporting terrorism? I think we do. I think we should. But go ahead.
Hands off Iran! 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 Hands off Iran!
And they're cheering.
And they're all wearing masks.
And they're in our country.
They're wearing masks because they want to
They
hide their
should-
coward face.
Stop putting everything on TV. Just don't put any of that crap up at all.
Well,
until the election's over.
Left-wing
Leave it
media
alone.
loves it.
That's terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. It is terrible.
We let them roam around the country, just like the 10 million that are roaming around now. But now all of a sudden, Joe wants to close the border. You guys know why?
He doesn't know if it's within his power to do it, though.
Well, sure. Yeah, but he's already got enough votes. Now he got all the people he needed in. Now, if he can close the border, because what they're trying to do is when they register them for welfare and things like that, they also get to register to vote.
Well, Johnson and Trump are stopping that with that new bill.
Yeah, well, let's see if it works.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You got to vote with an ID. You got to be a legal citizen. I don't care if you get welfare. You can't.
Yeah. Why would you want 30, 40, maybe a million people walking around with no identification be able to go in and vote? That makes a lot of sense.
The point is,
you know what I say to those people? Don't be an idiot. Stop being stupid.
We're going to get to that. We will.
I had a customer, talking about how he said Donald Trump wants to be a one-rule president. I go, excuse me? What are you talking about? I said, the Democrats are trying.
They're doing that right now.
They're doing it right now. Are you not seeing that?
They're not seeing
They're doing the one-rule party right now with all the migrants coming in and getting votes. What do you? I said, show me proof that Donald Trump is doing that right now. That's how brainwashed these people are. That's crazy.
I know.
You could tell him, Joe Biden could tell him on TV what he's doing, and they'd be okay with it.
It's like Trump shooting somebody on Fifth Avenue. We'd be okay with that, right? No, but you're right. That's the difference, because they would be okay with that, and none of us would be okay with that. It's so one-sided. It's obvious if you just step back.
Disgusting.
Well, before we run out of time, unfortunately, the natural evolution of humanity has forced us to create a new segment on the Loaded Mic. Now, some people have spiraled into a mental condition that has not yet been clearly defined, and I wish it wasn't so, but we felt compelled to highlight some of these people who live among us in a new segment called
Don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot.
Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I do not do that thing.
All right, so this next Don't Be an Idiot clip was the inspiration for the new Don't Be an Idiot segment. In this clip, you're going to see a man wrestle with his own stupidity as he struggles to remove himself from a fence post by which he hangs by his underwear after clearly trying to get over the fence. Unfortunately for him, his tighty-whities had other plans, resulting in what appears to be a very uncomfortable situation for him and his boys. I call this one self-inflicted atomic wedgie perched upon a fence post.
Oh, that's oh, there's gonna be some chocolate on those panties.
You just got
Listen, those are some strong underwear. They must be fruit of the looms.
yeah.
If that was you, it would have been.
See, there's the fat joke.
You just got
Dude,
gotta feel
that's
struggle.
tight.
You have a knife. That's why you can get out of
That's
that.
right. I can cut that right off.
Good reason
Oh
to have
yeah,
a
buddy,
knife.
that's tight. He's like, well, I'm just gonna hang out here for a while.
At a certain point, he just kind
Oh.
of gives up.
His chestnuts are crushed.
Oh,
He's gonna be talking like a woman in about a half hour. Look at him.
look, he just gave up. He's like, all right, this is my
Gotta
my
regroup.
destiny.
Dude, he's oh, that was classic. Oh, that hurt.
Oh, God. So, you see why we have to have a Don't Be an Idiot episode segment now?
If nothing else, it's a good reason to not wear underwear.
I guess. I don't know.
Oh, if he pulled his pants up, he wouldn't have had that problem.
Yeah.
are you trying to
he's-
say?
He's probably sagging his pants,
Yeah,
right?
Saggy pants.
Trying to jump over the
He lost
fence.
a lot of weight recently.
You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna go home and throw all them underwear out because they're just too good.
You get the breakaway underwear with the snaps in the middle.
I would have loved to see him
Snap,
like
snap,
detach
snap.
and fall.
Unbelievable.
That was I'm telling you, man. There's whoever made those underwear.
All right. Well, we've got some good stuff coming up here in the next half of the show. A real quick break. Stick around. It's going to be great. I can promise you that.
The Cali Key removes your AR from the definition of an assault weapon. It lets you keep your rifle with all its features, avoid registration hassles, and transport in hostile jurisdictions. The Cali Key also lets you hunt in jurisdictions like Pennsylvania and enhances long-range precision shooting. Cali Key's expert legal opinions empower informed decisions, and sales help grassroots Second Amendment organizations. Cali Key is your tool to keep and equip your AR, empower yourself, and defend your civil rights.
Our
founding fathers saw them coming over 200 years away. That's why they wrote the Second Amendment. Join us in the fight to preserve your gun rights and stop unconstitutional gun control. Gun Owners of America is the country's only no-compromise gun rights organization. Not only do we inform and educate, but we bring the fight to court and win. Your God-given right to keep and bear arms is our top priority. Become a member today and help us take back America. Join us at gunowners.org. Brian Melanowski, 53, was the executive director of the Little Rock, Arkansas airport. Now, Brian was a firearms and coin collector. He often rented booths at the local gun shops to buy and sell firearms. On March 19th, 2024, the ATF raided his home under the suspicion that he may have been selling firearms via the gun show loophole. Gun rights advocates said from the beginning that this gun show loophole was nothing more than a tool to enact gun confiscation, criminalize people for private gun transactions, and prevent people from obtaining firearms. Regardless of the fact that criminals and killers would avoid the background check system altogether, by stealing guns, the political left has been relentless in implementing legislation that would prevent the rare occasion of firearms being transferred without a background check. Now, groups like Moms Demand Action, Every Town for Gun Safety, the Giffords Group, and March for Our Lives had their gun confiscation wish granted when the ATF broke into Brian Melanowski's house and killed him. Video of ATF arriving at the neighborhood by a neighbor's security camera showed a total of 10 ATF vehicles descending on Melanowski's home before sunrise. As soon as the first ATF agent arrived at the door of the Melanowski home, he immediately covered the camera lens of the security camera on Melanowski's house, preventing any video documentation of the raid. It's been reported that ATF agents broke down the door and raided the house to execute a search warrant without notice. Brian Melanowski and his wife were startled by the attack on their home, and Brian entered the hallway from his bedroom with a handgun. Brian saw several people in his home and assumed he was under attack. Brian shot at the legs of the intruders. The ATF agents shot back at Brian and killed him with a shot to the head. Now, according to an affidavit from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Arkansas, Melanowski signed forms when he purchased the guns declaring he was buying the firearms for himself and not for resale. Because Melanowski supposedly violated this agreement, it would appear the ATF believed they had justification to raid his house while he and his wife were sleeping, knock down his door, and kill him as he tried defending himself and his wife. ATF agents occupied Melanowski's home for over 12 hours and, according to court documents, confiscated more than just firearms and ammunition. The court documents reveal that agents also confiscated Melanowski's tax records, invoices related to gun sales, receipts, vendor tags, 2 cell phones, 3 computers, an iPad, and an undisclosed amount of cash. Now, if Melanowski was buying and selling firearms without an FFL, as he was accused, surely the ATF or police could have found a non-lethal way of handling the situation. Red flag laws and no-knock warrants are deadly, and those who support them are putting the lives of nonviolent American citizens in danger every day. I wanted to see what you guys thought about this one.
Cowards. Why couldn't they just go to his house in the morning and just knock on his door?
Arrest him.
Yeah.
Just arrest him. What do you got to go through all that stuff?
Just tell him to come down to the police station. We got to talk to you, right?
Murderers.
Wait for him to leave his house, pull him over. I don't get it.
They're governmental murderers is what they are.
Terrible.
Yeah. So, according to the ATF, I mean, they can do whatever the heck they want.
Now, what kind of they had a warrant for? What did they find? I don't even know what was.
Well,
it doesn't matter what they found.
He was supposedly he was buying guns and then going to the gun shows and selling them, getting a booth and getting a table and everything and selling them. In some states, you can do that without doing a background check. So, and let me just clarify. We should never have to go through a background check to transfer a firearm to each other. I don't know where if this is starting to become so normalized, and it's so wrong.
You don't sell your car to somebody and go through a background
Yeah.
check. They might because you want to check their credit, but not you.
It's so wrong. But the problem is, you say it now, and people are like, oh, of course you need a background check to. No, you should never need a background check to buy or sell a firearm. There was never in our Constitution the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, as long as you get a background check from your state or federal government.
Well, plus, they're set up in a booth at a big convention center. It's not like they're in back alleys selling guns
Yeah,
to people.
well, that's a good point. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yep.
Why would you do that if you're trying to be a criminal? It doesn't make any sense.
Now, every gun show that I've gone to, and I've done book signings for the Good Gun Bad Guy book series, by the way, which you can get at goodgunbadguy.com. How's that for a shameless plug? But I've gone to gun shows and had booths and stuff, and I've watched that if each individual dealer didn't do their own background check, there was one table where everyone would go for their background checks. So I've never actually seen, in New York anyway, a gun show where you could do that without getting a background. But regardless of the fact,
maybe.
When did our founding fathers say government needs to regulate your... Anyway, go ahead. Anything?
It's because the citizens allowed it.
Because we allowed it by letting these laws keep piling on.
Got to stop.
I mean, I don't know. You can't say anything about the government because they're just dirtbags and they'll just come and kill you, obviously.
But the ironic thing about this whole background check, now they want universal background checks, which means you can't even sell to your kid any gun transaction. But the ironic thing about it is the people who are using guns to kill people, they're laughing at this nonsense that we have to go through because they go right around the whole process.
They're operating completely outside this whole thing.
But that's how stupid the government is. They don't care about the criminals. They care about us.
Yeah.
Because you know who's the threat to them?
Us.
Not the criminals.
If anyone's going to rise up against a tyrannical government, it's going to be the good guys.
That's why they're doing what they're
Patriots,
doing.
yeah.
But what are they going to do when it turns the other way?
What do you mean?
If people say enough's enough and they decide to say it's time, what are they going to do?
Well, they were supposed to have already got the guns. That was the Democrats' plan years ago. They were supposed to have already got them. And then they were going to implement, then they would implement tyranny like they tried with COVID.
I can tell
and
you
stuff
right
like
now,
that.
if they start doing crap like that more often, it ain't going to end well.
Yeah.
Because the ATF and the cowards and the FBI and whoever else, there's just it'll get real bad real quick.
If they put Trump in jail, I don't know what's going to happen. I think something.
That's what they want.
Well, I know.
This government wants the citizens to rise up, and they'll have no problem murdering you. That's how sick they are.
I guess. I don't know how many military people are otherwise going to go out there and murder people. You know,
Did you ever
it's
see
going
the
to turn
video?
into a big mess.
Did you see the video of the military men attacking a guy because he wouldn't take the vaccine? Did you see that video?
Probably. I'm not sure.
Yeah, 20 of them went and jumped the guy because he wouldn't take the vaccine. They will turn on you. They will turn on you. If they turn on their own people, they're going to turn on you. But is there enough of them? No. And that's what the government doesn't understand. It's disgusting the way they think and how they think that they're in control, but you're not. We're just reserved. That the American people are reserved.
Well, plus all those military people, they know all kinds of people that aren't military people that all have guns, that all know them.
Right.
So
And
they
it's
know
just-
where they live, they know their family, they know this and that. Why would you put all that at risk to follow some illegal law, basically?
Right.
It's not right. Sooner that's the shift. I think some people, it's like, you're a Nazi. Okay.
But I
Am I
think-
going to kill this pregnant Jewish woman? maybe not. You know, you might need a dramatic situation to make you change your mind. But
I think our government thinks that they're in control.
Well, they do,
but if people said we're done, and it just hit the fan.
The problem is everybody collectively has to do that.
Well, that's what we have to do, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're talking.
I think if it came down to it, it would happen because you'd have to,
just to survive.
You'd have to.
Yeah.
And it would be worse than it would be catastrophic.
The problem is it happens slowly, incrementally, and before you know it, you're disabled. You don't have guns. You don't have, the laws creep in.
You don't have water. You don't have food. You don't have anything. Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, even at least during the Revolutionary War, people were relatively self-sufficient. So if they decided to take a side, they could kind of hang out for a couple months. You couldn't do that. Couldn't go shopping. Couldn't go anywhere.
And if government started coming door to door,
right,
it would be different. That would be a different story. That's what you're talking about. But they do it incrementally through laws, through legislation and stuff, and slowly disable people in portions of society and make them dependent and whatever.
Perfect example of the guy we just talked about that had his house raided. All they have to do is make that personal enough times, scare all the neighbors.
Yeah.
That's the mind control part of it.
Yeah. I mean, it is a good thing that we have our Second Amendment, and it's even better thing that we got groups like Gun Owners of America that will defend our Second Amendment, go to court and fight these tyrants. So you want to know who's fighting for your gun rights? Gun Owners of America. Now, GOA is the no compromise gun rights group. I urge you to become a member at gunowners.org. What have they done? Well, GOA secured preliminary injunction against the ATF pistol brace rule. GOA members submitted a record 85,000 plus comments opposing the ATF's universal registration check rule. They helped enact permitless carry in Nebraska and Florida. GOA secured victories in California, Illinois, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Plus, they won 2 legal victories against the ATF's zero tolerance policy. And GOA fought to overturn Joe Biden's ban on funding hunter education, shooting sports, and archery in schools. Now, with the constant attacks on our Second Amendment, we often ask ourselves, what can I do about it? Well, this is what you can do about it. You can become a member at gunowners.org and help us save the Second Amendment. All right, so moving on, I wanted to get to, we have a triggered. Because society has lost its mind and no one is calling out the insanity, we created a new segment called Now, in this, we're not exactly sure what's causing this mob violence that we're seeing all over our country, but something has triggered this group of people to start beating the hell out of each other on what looks like a bus or something. I want to play this clip, and then we can talk about this type of violence and see what you guys think. What could be so bad that you have to beat the hell out of someone?
Oh, what was that? Do we know what was going on?
I don't even know what was happening.
Oh, okay.
But
see how you are, Dan?
But it was, but it was multiple people fighting with other people. It wasn't like
women fighting with women.
And it was women too. Isn't that the craziest
thing? That's why you were watching
thing?
In the first place.
Is that why I was watching?
Absolutely.
It came across. That video came across, but there's a lot more like them, and I don't understand.
I think that happens a lot, though.
You think? I don't know. I don't know. I see a lot of
videos.
videos.
People are violent. I mean,
it's so barbaric.
But you look at that and you go, yeah, they shouldn't have guns. Maybe we should have some gun laws. Okay, we'll fix that. Just to be safe, to take care of
that's what they'll say. They'll use that for justification.
Exactly.
I say that's why we need guns.
You're walking into that, all of a sudden you're trapped.
Can you imagine being on that bus, sitting there? The one white guy sitting on the freaking bus, completely nuts.
You don't know when somebody's going to pull a knife or what's going to happen or anything, right?
God.
Got to have a sawed off in your coat.
It's just I don't understand. It seems to be lower income communities that are just going crazy like that and having these big brawls.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the conditioning too. Right?
Is it black? Is it black people doing that? Is it low income black? Is it low income white people? Do we see this happening in low income white communities? I don't know.
Could be,
but there's a violent nature that's being released.
See, that's how typically socialist communist takeovers happen. Because look, you're being treated like crap here. We're going to help you. We're all about you. We're gonna fix your life for you. We're going to take care of you. It's pretty enticing to somebody who's basically got nothing to look forward to than getting on the bus and getting in a fight every day.
I don't know. It's just disturbing. I'm so glad I don't live in the city and have to take the bus or the subway. I travel in my own vehicle, always armed.
First class.
But seriously, think about that.
He's got his slippers on, laying back in the reclining chair.
What's wrong with him?
Sue's rubbing his feet. You got it made. Eating your Southwest snacks.
What is he talking about?
I'm picturing you on the plane, all being, having your feet massaged, eating your peanuts. Chex Mix.
He likes the snacks on the plane.
I have one saved. I can't even look at it. If I look at it, I get nauseous.
You still have one?
I have one laying around. Just every once in a while, I find it.
I think I even got one. I'll give it.
Or something.
I'll give it to you.
You had some last week, didn't you?
Just so everybody knows, John loves the little Southwest airline
peanuts.
It's not peanuts. It's
trail mix, right?
It's got
Chex
pretzels and Chex Mix and a little garlic bread thing.
They're low calorie to make sure you stay right inside those seats.
Yeah. Oh, God. So we talk about crime, and we talked about this before on the show. So crime is getting so bad, and we talk about what would happen if crime in America wasn't properly handled. And the robberies and the break-ins and the looting and all that stuff. And we talked about insurance companies, right? Because ultimately insurance companies are going to end up paying the bill, right? We said it on the show before, it would ultimately reflect in insurance rates. Well, here's a story that exactly that. Their California jewelry store cancels their insurance plan after it gets too expensive. And then they get hit with a massive robbery. This is in the Western Journal. California celebrated the post-World War II decades for its vibrant economy and as a hub of innovation. It's increasingly being perceived as hostile to businesses. A blend of Democrat lawmakers, high taxes, stringent regulations, and a spike in crime rates paints a grim picture of the business landscape in the once golden state. A robbery reported last week of Fung Jewelry in Oakland. Oakland
of all dirt holes.
Oakland has got to be the worst place on planet Earth. But a harrowing event where the owners faced a brutal heist is a stark example of the challenges businesses endure every day. Some business owners can no longer even afford to pay the insurance, which places them at even greater risk when their livelihoods are attacked. That's the precise scenario that unspooled on Wednesday when one of Oakland's oldest jewelry stores became the victim of an increasingly dangerous and economically unviable California. Armed men executed a daylight robbery and escaped in 2 getaway cars, devastating the store's inventory and leaving the owners who had just dropped their insurance due to soaring premiums in dire straits. Watch this video. Thanks, Democrats.
Oh, Newsome. Thank Newsom. And they got nothing to defend themselves.
In the end, you'll see the owner comes out. The owner comes out with a gun, but he's too late. They're already gone. Can you imagine? Look at these old folks. You can tell they're old people, too. They're old folks. That's probably their retirement. That those
Newsom care.
Those thugs just ran off with their entire.
They probably brought that to the governor's house.
just a shame.
I don't know how. I mean, I think California, I think there's something in the water there because they got to be really stupid to vote that moron into office.
It must be good for somebody, right?
Even the Hollywood elites. Why would you?
Who's it good for, though?
I don't
He
know.
just raised the minimum wage to $20. Now you got a bunch of businesses just closing because they can't do it. But then his restaurant's only paying him $16 an hour.
Yeah, and they're automating too. A lot of places, because of the wage increase, are going to be automating.
Yeah.
And what it ultimately means is less jobs available. But here's my question. The elites. We talk about the Hollywood elites, all the actors and actresses, and the people who have all this money.
The clueless people?
It doesn't really affect the economy doesn't really affect them because they've got so much that they can overcome any economical disadvantages. But they come out of the Hollywood Hills and drive into LA and Hollywood and
Maybe not.
Probably not.
I mean, why would they want to destroy their own state by voting in these Democrats all the time?
They're obviously not saying it that way. So
Then it doesn't affect them.
But it does affect them. They got to drive. They got to go to LA. They got to go into the city,
They probably
right?
send their assistant in to get it for them.
the effect when nobody goes and sees their movies, that's what it affects them. They're all losing money.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But they're so caught up in this Democrat support, voting for their tribe. I just don't understand. All I know is even if I supported Democrats, even if I was brainwashed like that, I'd come out of my rich mansion out from the Hollywood Hills, and I'd come down and I'd see this hellhole in L.A. and Hollywood and San Francisco and all these other places. I'd say, wait a minute, we're doing something wrong here. It doesn't affect me financially, but I don't want my state to look like this.
That's why Stallone moved his family out of there.
Who?
Stallone.
Oh, Stallone. Right.
Florida.
Yep.
Up and just, I don't know, he lived there his whole life. Boop.
A lot of people have left. I know
Wahlberg left.
Mel Gibson. Did he leave?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
Ben Shapiro.
And
They're all leaving. The ones who are actually waking up are leaving.
yeah. Rubio. Dave Rubin. Right. Dave Rubin left.
Did you hear about
Ben Shapiro?
Newsom's new law he wants to put in place for
No.
the 1%? If you leave a state, you pay 20% tax out on the way out.
So you got to pay to leave.
You got to pay to leave. No, that's a real law.
Yeah.
So if you're worth over $1 billion, you got to pay $20 million to leave his state.
It's
And
like
if you make $1,000,001, it's 25%.
it's like jail. It's like a jail, really.
I mean, $1 billion. I mean, what's 20 million to a billionaire? But it's $20 million you're losing because some dirtbag is making a law because he doesn't want you, who's paying
Taxes.
to leave.
Sinister.
Democrats are crazy.
I would keep the real estate in California. I would move to another state. I would rent out the real estate, make a fortune, suck as much money out of that state, and spend it in Florida, spend it in Texas, spend it in Tennessee, Dakotas, Carolinas, wherever, and so use the state. Hey, if they're going to run the state into the ground, I would use that state for its real estate value,
Absolutely.
and I would spend that money in a state who gives a crap about me. So,
If he stays in office longer, it's that state's going to be done.
They're already
they're
billions and billions in debt, right?
How could you-
$30-some billion in debt? That's why they want the money. It's all a grab.
Oh, yeah.
It's all crazy. If you're not producing something useful and nobody wants to come and live in your state, what do you do? You turn into a nut, I guess, and do.
yeah, so sucking it off them any
You
way
gotta
you
tell
can.
them.
What do I
Don't be
tell
an
'em?
idiot.
Don't be an idiot.
You should just have his face floating around.
Newsom.
Newsom's head just floating around in a bubble. Because he is one stupid idiot.
Yeah, so is Hochul here in New York.
She's beyond stupid. She's bought and paid for.
There's something wrong with her.
She's not
right.
smart. She's
Yeah.
not smart at all.
No, she doesn't seem very intelligent.
No. There's no way that woman passed the bar exam. I don't care who you are.
You need to see her SATs.
There's no way.
Well, I mean, people may not remember. She was appointed to governor, and then after Cuomo left in disgrace because he was accused of sexual harassment, nipple ring, right?
Old nipple ring.
So he leaves. He appoints her to the position. So she never got a single vote. She was appointed. She was given. She was given the position. Then, when it came time to, run again for real. She had to run for real. She had Lee Zeldin run against her, and Lee Zeldin did really well. Came really close. But of course, Democrats in New York will cheat. They'll do whatever they have to do. I'm not sure how they won. Maybe they did get the majority of votes, but regardless of that, they had the Democratic machine behind Hochul at that point.
Mm-hmm. Now look at the city. I wonder how they feel about the city.
It's just
now
falling
and their
apart.
vote.
And look at the DA. Look at the
Bragg.
You got Bragg in New York City, and then you got the AG Letitia.
Oh yeah, dirtbag. There's another dirtbag.
And even Mayor Eric Adams. There's always this little with Eric Adams. There's this little slight glimmer of hope with him.
Yep.
But he always goes radical left.
Yeah. But people just don't see how destructive the Democrats are.
How what?
Destructive they are.
No, I know.
They don't see it.
I know. They keep voting for the same destructiveness, and they keep voting for their own demise.
It's mostly peaceful, though.
I'm like, the city is overrun with migrants. It's a dump. Oh, no, it's not. I see it on TV. What? What? Go down and experience it for yourself. Don't listen to what the news is showing you. So they're not telling you the truth. They're showing you Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's where their money comes in. You think they're going to let the migrants hang out in Manhattan? No.
Showing you up near the park,
right?
Up in the 50s, up in the good part, uptown.
Yeah, they're not showing you where the tent cities are and all that.
Right.
Living under they're not showing you any of that.
We should go on a road trip and do a little documentary.
I think we should take the loaded mic to New York City. Yeah,
let's do that.
I don't know if I go down there without a gun though. Can't do it.
We can bring my friend Rick. He's got a gun.
You can't go in the city with a gun.
He can.
Go to prison.
He's got special rights.
All right. Well, we got to wrap up anyway. Who knows? Maybe the next time you see us, we'll be in New York City. I don't know about that, but thanks for watching Loaded Mike on Rumble and YouTube. We're also on OpsLens, Right America Media, Simul TV, Key Radio Network, and any podcast platform that you can think of. We're probably on it. You can also go to loadedmike.com to check out previous episodes of the show. So thanks for watching. I'm Dan Woss, and remember, the Second Amendment is not a privilege, it's your right.